Welcome back to my channel. On this video, you'll see that the ocean was pretty rough. You know, the wind was only, I think when I look at the forecast, the wind was only like 17 and then max like 25 miles an hour. I've been to Hawaii before where the ocean was really rough. And just want to see, this is the roughest I've been on Guam, and I just want to test my how my kayak handle Guam waters when it's this rough. And you see at the beginning here, it's already windy, and I didn't even notice that I drifted so far just by the shore. I went towards the shallow side, and then I kind of tried to hurry up and go to the deep side because I don't want my kayak to scrape from the rocks on the shallow side. And just a warning, do not go to the ocean when it's rough. Make sure you know your capabilities, know your equipment, know their capabilities as well. And never go to the ocean without a personal flotation device, like basically my vest right there. My fishing vest has a flotation device, so just in case I tip over, it's able to hold my weight, and I'm not gonna drown. And at the same time, it's very important to make sure you have a knife with you, just in case you get tangled by your lines and you need to cut and all that. Check your local boating where you register your boat, right? They have the safety requirements by the Coast Guard. So for kayakers, I think you just got to make sure you got PFD, you got a whistle, and you got a flashlight. I think that could be just a minimum. I'm not sure, but I also have a knife, all that, scissors and other tools for my tackle. And yeah, if you look at the waves, you see a lot of white caps. Those are the white, when the waves or the swell breaks, you see all that white caps on the ocean. I typically don't want to go fishing when it's like that. So I was too excited. You'll see towards the end of the video here, you'll see that I made a homemade jig, which is it's a blank jig. I painted, put eyes, put a couple of red and black dots. I made my assist hook. I just want to see if it works, and it actually did. Sadly, nothing but shark that day. I think I got shark 2 times or 3 times. I think I got it on a video. At least 2 times I got shark, and it's frustrating. You lose your jig unless you hook up the shark perfectly on the side of the mouth where it's not able to cut your line, and you can fight it, right? But the hardest part about dealing with shark are it's very dangerous. So it's hard. You may not even get your jig back. One time I encountered shark, I was able to cut the assist hook and recover my jig. But most times they swallow your jig and they cut your line, and you just lose that jig. And yeah, if you look at this, if you look at the waves, the video doesn't do justice. It's a lot more scarier when you're out there. You can actually see, the swells. They're so high, they're so rough that you go up, and then you go on the lower part of the swell. You don't see much of the horizon above, in front of you. And the main thing about kayaking like this, you gotta make sure you're watching your balance, right? Your head is your center of balance. So what you need to do is ensure you're doing kind of like a gyro, right? So you're counterbalancing every time your kayak moves to the left. You move your head a little bit to the right, because again, your head is kind of like your center of balance. If your head is in the middle of the kayak, your kayak should be fine. It will not tip. And the other not so good about my kayak, it's not very stable, because that kayak, I guess the old town's lineup. That kayak is called a Salty 120 PDL. It's supposed to be their fastest kayak, and it's not really that fast. It's just faster than the other model that they have. Because if you look at the hull, it glides better on the water versus like their top water, their sportsmen, which they're like pontoon. They're heavier and create more drag on the water. So this kayak actually is probably 1 mile per hour faster than the wider kayak that the Old Town have. So I took that chance. I use this all the time because also it's lighter. Right? Like I have a Sportsman's as well. I have a Sportsman's PDL 120, and I say that kayak my average speed is probably about 2.7. 2.7 mile per hour cruising speed for me. And on this Salty 120 PDL, my cruising speed is about 3.5, 3.7, so almost 1 mile per hour over, and that makes a big difference, especially when you're tired. And when the current are strong, if you're drifting like 3 miles an hour and you're against the current, you gotta think you're only gonna be going like less than 1 mile an hour. So you'd be surprised. You'd be like pedaling for a long time and you're like, man, I'm not moving so much. So that's the downside of when the current is strong and you're on a kayak. And at one point, I think I was fishing at nighttime. I was trying to get some fly, and I was not paying attention on the drift. I was drifting over 3 miles an hour. It was just a strong drift. And I'm pedaling, and I'm like, man, I'm actually getting pushed back because I was going 3 miles an hour, and then but the drift is over 3 miles an hour. So I had to actually work hard in able to go to my spot, and I end up turning around because I don't want to get drifted too far in the ocean. So you gotta watch the weather. If you're a kayaker, you definitely want to watch the weather and pay attention on how big are the swell, the waves. Depends on where you're exiting. If you're going to a channel that gets pretty rough, I caution you on make sure you know your capabilities. That's the big thing, because you never know what's gonna happen. If you haven't flipped on a kayak, go train. Go when it's a controlled weather. Go flip your kayak. See how you're gonna react. Make sure you're able to flip it back, get back on it. Because if not, you don't want to test that during emergency. Because trust me, you'll lose. You don't want to be in a water where there's also sharks. So be safe out there. What you see right there is a homemade jig. I bought a blank jig online, painted it, put some dots, black and red, and I made a assist hook from a stainless steel hook, and just want to see if it works, even though it looks crappy, right? But unfortunately, it didn't end well for the jig. It definitely worked, I got a hit on it, and it was a big shark because I was not able to control that shark. There was no chance, you'll see my rod there in a little bit. It got bent really hard. I thought, good thing it didn't break because it hit the side of my kayak next to my kage, my spear right there, which is good thing it didn't cut the line or it didn't break my fishing pole. But yeah, it works. So I might make a couple more in the future just to see if they work as well with other species like the gadao, the tarakitu. We'll see. And yeah, that day was still, it was really rough. The ocean was so dirty, too many debris on the water, drifted bamboos, a lot of seaweed. It's not a good day to fish. It was a good day to see how my kayak handles, but not a good day to fish. You'll see right there, it was just the water was too rough. feels great when you see your fishing pole bend like that. It was taking drag pretty fast. I know it's a big fish on the end of that line. I was just hoping I was able to, slow down a little bit. But that fish was strong. I was happy when it hit the side of my kayak right there that it didn't break my fishing pole. But I knew I didn't have a chance. It was just the fish was really strong, and I think it's a shark. It's a taxman. We'll see later. Pretty disappointing when I took my homemade jig. It didn't even last that long. I was hoping I could test it, maybe hook up on a foodie, on a tarakitu or gadao, but no chance there. It ended pretty quick. What you see right there, I'm trying to get back on the beach. I was done fishing that day. It was just too rough. All I got were I cut off from toothy creatures, most likely shark. Never seen them, but cut me off at least I think 3 times. And going back to the channel, I was bracing myself on the side of the kayak, make sure I don't lean too much to the left or right. I'm able to control my balance, and I constantly look for the swell and the waves that are coming on my path. And you gotta pay attention, because if you're not paying attention, you will flip, and it will be a bad day because you will hit the breaks, the corals, and you can get really hurt or drown. die, right? So please do not attempt to do any kind of dangerous things like this, like going a kayak on the rough ocean, unless you know your capabilities of yourself and your equipment. And be safe out there. Here I was almost out of the danger. I was in the channel inside Pago Bay, and you can see the waves got a lot softer, so it was more manageable. I think the whole time my heart rate was high, adrenaline was high, trying to fight the waves. You don't want to be, you don't want to flip in those waves. So you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention the whole time, and be safe out there when you go kayaking.